Hi, welcome to Full Party.
Hello.
I mean, I feel like you guys can give yourselves a small round of applause here. I mean, we've persevered through a few technical hiccups, but of course, what maiden voyage wouldn't be a voyage at all without, the ship running aground.
Smashed bottles against the helm.
Without a few icebergs just tearing it open.
That was where I was going with it, yeah.
Oh God.
We can sink, but we can get ourselves back up. I'm John Verrill, and I have 4 fantastic players here for you for our Exalted 3rd Edition campaign here. We have been working tirelessly to try to make sure that we don't come into this without a well-oiled machine, and now we've quite clearly we're going to test that. But we've done what we can. You guys want to throw yourselves out there?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm Elizabeth Neal. I am an actor based out of Montreal, and I also work for Beanduck Productions. Thank you for joining this stream and this channel. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. My name is Amir Salman Nakhjavani, also known as Amir. I'm playing Pellio. I'm an actor. I'm thrilled to be here because I absolutely adore role-playing games, and I've just discovered Exalted, which is an incredible world, and I'm really, really excited to just jump into it and play around, kind of make a mess of it all. So, yeah.
Making messes.
Yeah.
I am also quite jazzed. My name is Scott Humphrey, and I'm a Montreal actor, and I'm very excited to be here this evening as well, in Full Party.
Yeah, I'm Jess Fildes. I'm also a Montreal actor and comedian. Not.
No, it's good.
And I'm super, super stoked to be here. Yeah.
So we have stoked, jazzed, excited. I don't know what I said. I blacked out.
We're smashing champagne bottles on helms.
Yeah.
Disturbed.
I'm so disturbed to be here.
For those of you who may not be aware, Exalted is a role-playing game that was released almost 20 years ago and is now in its 3rd edition. The 3rd edition is massive. You want to show the folks here?
Yeah.
3rd edition is a that is a chonker of a book right there, and it's now not even the only one. There's now also Exalted, Dragon-Blooded, What Fireth Wrought, and now even on Kickstarter right now is Lunars, which is now
Very cool.
to Kickstart, and you even get the full manuscript if you donate $5. So that's something to shake a stick at.
Take like a 2-minute break.
Exalted is a role-playing game based on the storyteller system, made famous by such games as Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf the Apocalypse, Mage the Ascension, and Changeling the Dreaming, all part of the World of Darkness. But it is modified to a certain extent because not only can we not leave well enough alone, Exalted has created a world in which cinematic combat and tension, alongside a wonderful social influence system, really takes to the fore. While there's a lot of crunch in these books, it really creates a compelling role-playing experience. I have been playing this game since Exalted 1st edition, and I also have 2 players who've been playing since 2nd edition, and 2 players who haven't touched it up to this point. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I mean, so
Yeah.
Wow.
I love it.
in terms of the book, like when you I know that you guys had access to the PDF, but when you first saw the book itself, did it intimidate you?
Yeah. 100%.
It intimidated me.
I mean, I feel like it should be a weapon category in the game itself. Like it's big and it's like a bludgeoning weapon.
It is
can
like
use it
so
to-
meta, and
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got our die claves, we've got our death scythes, and we've got our Exalted 3rd edition core.
Changing of my character concept.
I will say I was
People with books.
intimidated by it when I first kind of encountered it, but only in the sense that I was like, man, how am I going to prop this up while I read it, because I desperately want to read it now from cover to cover, because of its size. But it's exciting. It's an exciting tome to look at. And
I like
be
reading
into.
books in bed. You can't read this in bed.
No.
Truth.
Because if you drop it on your face, you're going to the hospital. I mean, if you can see, my septum's deviated like this just from 1 too many late nights. Exalted's not a setting that everybody is aware of, so let's see if we can give you a very quick rundown. this game is based quite a bit on a combination of both Western and Eastern mythologies. If you can imagine the sort of fantasy aspects that you might be familiar with from Eastern influences or animation, especially what you might see in some manga or anime, alongside the sort of maneuverings and dealings of political intrigue, you can get an idea of where we're coming at from creation, which is the world of Exalted. It's kind of one part Game of Thrones, one part Ninja Scroll, and one part Neil Gaiman, just kind of smashed all together and thrown at you as a game. I mean, am I wrong here?
Nope.
Nope, that's
Sounds right to me.
pretty
accurate.
I challenge you to tell me, am I wrong?
No, sir.
No,
There's like a
never.
Song of Last Airbender maybe as well.
Yeah,
just kinda like-
definitely. Some
Yeah,
Dragon Ball
very
Z.
much so, very much so.
Okay.
I'm thrilled to begin, but we should probably make sure that we make sure that people know the basic concepts of what we're about to do. Today, we're running through what is essentially the backstories of our 4 PCs. We're going to go through what is known as their exaltation, the moment that they transition from being just your normal, average, run-of-the-mill person into someone who's been given the power of gods themselves as they walk creation. And that's an exciting moment. It's sort of like, puberty.
Okay.
But like a second puberty.
Like all at once and really
I don't know.
intense. Like,
Sure. You're very self-conscious.
oh yeah, that's true.
And
Yeah, body's changing.
Alienating. Yeah.
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 Everyone wants to kill you.
Everyone wants to.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
Wait.
hang on.
There's a lot of blood.
Oh.
What?
Wait, no?
I mean, you're not wrong in more ways than one. So
Boy.
Too far. Okay.
let's
Got it.
take a look at the world that we're going to be playing in. Creation is huge, and unfortunately for all you people out there who might have lived in the real world, creation's also flat. No globe here. A massive landmass surrounded on all sides by the wild itself, a form of primordial kind of raw creation power. But imagine that this is kind of a pseudo-medieval situation. We've got characters who are going to be wielding swords, shields, wearing armor. At the same time, in this world, magic is not what you would expect. There are those who have been chosen by the gods, known as the Exalted, who walk on creation itself and can wield essence. Essence is it's kind of like the Force, if we wanted to put it that way. It is something that flows from all things, an energy that Exalted know how to manipulate for themselves, and they create effects which we, mechanics-wise, will refer to as charms, but to an Exalted, it's just the way you are, just the way that you can push forward and push harder than anyone else. In the game of Exalted, you have 26 abilities, or is it 28? It's a lot. There are a lot of different abilities here, and unlike other games where most of your stats are kind of predetermined by your level, characters can purchase their attributes and their abilities as they so choose at the beginning of character creation and also then later on through experience. The characters are very malleable that way. I understand this system better than others because this one really puts itself forward for a role-playing game. A game where we're really kind of pushing forward on the social aspect of it, of us playing. And yet at the same time, it has a very rich and deep combat system. All of the charms that you will have access to as Exalted relate to one of your abilities, which means that not only can you be an excellent sword fighter or an excellent archer, but you also have the ability to create wonders and perform miracles in such abilities as bureaucracy, or
Really wanted to.
medicine, or survival, or even ride. We have at our disposal a huge amount. I mean, if you look at that book that we were showing you earlier, fully like 1/3 of it is just different charms that you can use and access. Now, in the world of Exalted, when there was the first age, there were many different kinds. You had the dragon-blooded, the exalted of the 5 elemental dragons, each of which have an aspect of one of those elements: air, earth, wind, fire, or wood. You would have the lunar exalted, created by Luna, the goddess of the moon, who are beasts, shape changers, but most of all created to be consorts of the Solar Exalted, the greatest of the exalted, selected by the unconquered sun himself. And that's who all of you get to be.
Oh.
But unfortunately, in the first age, the Solars became corrupt. And while they were built to rule, they fucked it up. A fourth kind of exalted, known as the sidereals, those who are associated with fate, were divided on how to deal with this issue. Half of them believed that the Solars needed to be overthrown, and therefore convinced the dragon-blooded to usurp the Solar Exalted. The war almost destroyed creation itself. But at the end, the Scarlet Empress arose and made sure that the dragon-blooded were the new rulers of the Roost, formed the Immaculate Order, a state religion that ensured that everyone on the planet, everyone in creation, would regard the Solar Exalted along with the Lunars as anathema, to be feared and destroyed. And then took all of the essences of these Solar Exalted and imprisoned them to ensure that, of course, they wouldn't return, as your exalted essence is reborn in a new person once you have died. But, every once in a while one would get free. One lone Solar Exalted is no match for the pacts of dragon-blooded formed to hunt them down and destroy them, known as the Wild Hunt. 5 years ago, the Scarlet Empress disappeared. We're not sure where she went. She has occasionally taken vacations before. I mean, who hasn't, right? Sometimes you just got to soak up the sun.
Yeah, you bet.
But she left no instructions on how to deal with the reign of succession. No instructions as to who will take her place. And because at this point, we can't wait for her any longer, a war among the various houses in the realm is starting to brew. And therefore, the Wild Hunt isn't quite as effective as it once was. Still brutally effective to an individual. But more and more Solars are escaping their prison than ever before. And it's just possible, if you're lucky, if you're good, to survive. And if you can survive long enough and maybe find some allies, either among your own kind, humanity, the Lunars, other mysterious kinds of exalted, the spirits of the realm itself, gods, fae folk, you might be able to get back to the top, restore the planet as it once was, perhaps usher in a new age. But first, we have to actually get to that moment where you have essence where there was no essence before. Do you guys have any questions?
No. It's a pretty sweet universe, dude.
Yeah.
We're going to get to know it pretty well as we move on. We're going to be playing every week. So, it's not that we're not crazy or nothing. But I think it's time that we actually had a look at this. So, if you don't have any questions, if we are going to proceed, and if the chat will join us, we're going to go through each of your exaltations, moments of stress in your lives. So consider this our session 0, a full party. Let's see what we can do to have some fun on the way.
Yeah.
Oh, golly gee whiz. Let's get her going.
Okay.
beginnings are difficult. I mean, they say that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, but I prefer to think of it as that journeys are inevitable. It doesn't matter whether you take the step or not. Something's going to happen to you. Something always does. For some of us, that call to adventure is simple. A new job, a new kid, or even just a new city to move to. But for a PC and a role-playing game, that call to adventure comes in a lot of different ways. What I've done is found out just how much my players want to have control over their backstory. And filled in a few blanks of my own. We're going to see what it's like here and now. But I will remind all four of you, the sheets that you have in front of you, so painstakingly filled out over the past few months, they're not set in stone yet. The point here is to have fun, which means that if over the next few sessions you realize that something wasn't quite the way you wanted it to be, oh, by all means, we'll have the chance to change it. Because, after all, it's important that you enjoy the character you're in. Unless they die in the first session, then we can just,
Yeah, just make a new one.
Elizabeth, who is your character
Okay.
before her exaltation?
My character before my exaltation is named Pella. And she is from Port Kalin, I don't know how it's pronounced, which is a coastal city in the Scavenger Lands. And she belongs to a large family of very low-level criminals who think that they're high-level. They think they are the shit. They're essentially pretending to be the mafia.
Are you implying that they are perhaps not the shit?
She is. She's so embarrassed to be a part of this family and to be told her entire life that the best thing for anybody to aspire to is to just serve the family. And that's it. That is your be-all and end-all in life. She did not have many friends and did not really get along with anyone in her family except her older brother, Minute. She thought herself very superior to all of them. She's like, I can do your stupid work. I can take care of these tasks in an eighth of the time. Why am I here? You all really think that's all there is. So yeah, that's where she's at.
Mir, do you have any experience being part of a very low-level crime family?
As a mirror or as my character?
Yeah, as a mirror.
I can't say that I do.
Can't say that you do.
No.
What's got to be the most annoying thing about a low-level criminal family?
The fact that it's low.
Like, just the aspirations are so low, or is that their aspirations are high and the skill just can't match?
The skill they can't match, but I would think that in a low-level crime family, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on
Of course.
this, but my sense would be that people think that they're bigger than they really are. It's a tiny little fishbowl, right? Which has delusions of grandeur and thinks it's something much bigger than it really is.
Absolutely.
And so, if you have an understanding of how big the real world is outside of the fishbowl
Just looks ridiculous.
looks absolutely ridiculous. So yeah.
Jess, you ever met somebody like that?
Yeah.
It's me, isn't it?
I didn't want to say it.
Here we
Thought
are.
maybe that would be a bad way to start session
the elephant in the
zero.
room.
what's got to be the least impressive crime out there?
Oh, maybe like petty theft.
Petty theft.
I don't know.
Ripping candy off from a baby.
Yeah.
Nix. Your uncle has a ritual. A ritual which is incredibly annoying. Setting up screens behind him with lanterns so that he's silhouetted, so that you can't see his face. Of course, this is in a building which doesn't even have a proper floor, so his chair sinks somewhat into the ground if it's rained at all in the past 2 weeks. And he insists that no one refers to him by anything other than the boss.
Oh my.
Minute comes forward with your summons, and of course it's written on a parchment sealed with wax. But
Of course.
seeing as how we don't actually have a proper wax seal, it's just literally a few drips of red on top of parchment that merely just says, "See me, the boss." I don't know. He seemed really impressed with Self this time. I think you better go rush to see him.
I'll head over. And I walk really slowly to get there. Drag my feet.
So Minutes just starts like bouncing back and forth on his feet, just like, "Come on, hurry up." But he doesn't say anything. He knows better than that.
Mm-hmm. What do you think it is this time, Minute?
Well, they never give you anything but the coolest of jobs.
Another rich merchant come into port. Has a jewel that needs lifted.
Oh, we always love jewels.
Maybe somebody's daughter ran away.
Look,
Wow.
we might even be able to get
Maybe.
a whole talent of jade out of this.
Whole talent. Yeah. How much of a cut do you think the boss took?
He takes his standard 80%.
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought that's how it always was done.
It is how it's always done. Here.
The tent flap is just a little bit ajar, so there's this slice of light that's just going in, and of course it's illuminating your uncle's eye, which you can tell that he's flinching away from it and sort of shifting his
I want to
body.
open it, open the flap wider than it needs to be opened. To cast
Close
light.
the tent flap.
I want to hold it open for a minute to come in if he's following. Just make a really big show of. All right.
You know that I wouldn't have called you if it wasn't important. Next time, I expect you to make haste.
I hasted as fast as I possibly could.
Oh, the boss doesn't like being kept waiting. And I'm the boss.
So shoot.
We have reason to believe that there's an artifact that we want collected.
You don't say.
And I trust no one but you to retrieve it. It is a matter of the utmost delicacy, and I'm sure that you'll see why your skills are needed. The artifact is in the shape of a spiral, and it's currently being held in the bassinet of a pair of rich merchants' twins. Their ship's coming in about an hour.
That's comedy.
I paid dearly for this information. I expect to see that artifact on this desk. Don't worry. It's like... Wait for it. Stealing from a baby. Only this time it's... 2 babies. Now... And he pushes forward 2 lit candles, one which is glowing with red flame and the other glowing with blue.
Ooh.
Blow out the red candle, and you've accepted your mission. Blow out the blue one, and you will be summarily executed as a traitor to the family. It's your choice.
And then I want to walk out.
Oh.
No. No one ever extinguishes the blue candle.
See you at sundown, Uncle.
Wow.
Because you realize it's noon, right?
Close the tent flap. Like, do you do it properly?
Kind of like close it extra hard so that it swings back the other way and more light comes in. So it's like this.
So he gets up, and he has considerable mass. This guy's got to weigh at least 350
Reached
pounds.
critical mass.
And he waddles around the table and just starts pulling it closed and tying it as best he can. And then you hear from behind the tent, "Next time, I swear. I swear."
You swear, I'll get you next time, you meddling kids. I'm like muttering to myself as I'm walking.
Minute falls into step next to you. You can't keep antagonism like that.
I can keep antagonizing him as much as I want.
One day he's going to stop giving you jobs.
Oh, poor me.
Well, then where are you going to be, huh?
I'll find my own. Higher caliber than this dump.
There isn't higher caliber around here. Not in Cullen.
Of course not. That's my point. You really don't ever want to leave this place?
Take me with you. Minute, M-I-N-N-E-T, is who he's with currently. Fine.
Look, this big, sprawling organization that our family claims to have founded.
We're feared here, and as you walk down the street, you see that there's, like it's a port town. There's a lot of different traders here. Everyone's just like walking past you, and they keep kind of brushing up against Minute's shoulders because he's trying to act as if he's got a lot of space to walk down the street, and he doesn't. What's your appearance?
My appearance is 2.
And what would your presence be?
My presence is 1.
Okay, so they're still kind of doing the same for you.
But I don't mind because I'm comfortable with dipping and
Weaving.
dodging.
So Minute is not. Nice. Minute is just like walking straight forward and just like, ow. Stop it.
It's messy. There are too many moving parts. The jobs they take are a joke.
You have to steal an artifact.
Yeah, and I wonder how much that's really going to be worth. And it's going to be pretty obvious who did it. Or at least who's going to be blamed for it.
No one would ever blame you.
I know.
They'll blame me.
I know. Sorry, bud. Oh.
Come on.
Come on. Let's go steal from a baby. Oh, sorry. 2 babies.
Pellio. Admittedly, this is 6 months after our good friend Nyx is going to Exalt, but I wonder if you won't fill us in on who you might be.
Principally, I'm an actor of the stage. But I don't perform that role in my day-to-day life. I work for houses Sisus and Cesus as a sort of information broker. That is all.
Information broker sounds like a really fancy word for...
I procure details of market fluctuations, trade secrets to do with the business of commodities trading in Nexus.
And all of this is quite open and above board, right?
Of course, certainly.
Then why is it that you report to a spy master?
Well, that's a title that we give him in jest, you understand. It's a bit of friendly banter, nothing more.
Except that this morning you actually get to spend time with somebody a little different. Morden the player.
Ah, yes. Yes, my old mentor. A fine man. and a wonderful actor.
You must understand that when you are standing in front of an audience, whether it's an audience of 5,000 or one, you must pay attention to me.
Yes, sir.
You must be ever present in the moment.
Yes, Morden.
Now, what is this moment?
To feel a communion with the language and an immersion in the words, to be transported by the power of speech.
Pellio, you are my brightest student. But you must understand that the people out there don't recognize the words of wisdom you speak. They're common, all of them. Truly, acting is the only last great profession. Even scholars look up to us. Of course, he's giving you this wonderful lesson in an abandoned theater in Nexus. Abandoned theaters, according to Morden, are the best place to rehearse because nobody hassles you, and therefore your psychic energies can expand as far as they need to go. Privately, maybe, it's more obvious that he doesn't have to pay anyone to use an abandoned building. And of course, in Nexus, there are no laws other than to not restrict trade, so he gets away with it, right up until the point where somebody can claim ownership of the theater. And while he might be a bit of a skinflint, that doesn't mean that he isn't an excellent actor. And as he spreads his arms wide, indicating the benches that make up the seating in this falling apart proscenium arch, I know that you have taken your craft and done something gauche with it. You've wandered away from the art, Pellio. Why?
I like money. Sir, I have an appreciation for material luxuries. The world is abundant and full of many wonderful things, and I wish to enjoy them all.
You can clothe yourself in the laughter of an audience, and you can feed yourself with the tears that erupt from their eyes.
Oh no!
What need you have of material goods when the emotions of the world will bring you all the joy you need?
But our theater is empty, Morden. Where are the people? Who will house our theater?
I had to get a second job, so I haven't had enough time to write a new play.
I know. You haven't called.
Dealing in manure is a respectable profession. I sling shit on the stage. I might as well do it in the streets.
That was one review, Morden. Doesn't define you as a performer. I mean, please.
Oh boy. Oh my god.
You do know, however, that you have a meeting coming up with Kubla, your spy master.
Yes.
So you're going to have to cut this lesson short. I mean, if you dare. The last time that you cut a lesson short, Morden made sure that you didn't have a chair to sit on stage for at least a week.
Petty.
Kubla is awaiting me, Morden. I must bid you farewell.
There's plenty of room for somebody else with my business. It's respectable and safe. Why do you have to deal with a crook like Kubla?
I have a taste for silk shirts. Sir, I enjoy the feeling of silk against my skin. I wish to own as many silk shirts as I possibly can, and I can't do that as an actor. Yes.
The last time that I walked through the streets of the Blessed Isle, I met upon a man who could act circles around anyone. I said that I needed to teach him. It was my calling, as it were. Do you know what happened to that man?
I've heard the rumors.
He was eaten by a lion.
Yes.
Do you know why?
I'm
Because
sure
he
it-
wanted to be a zookeeper.
Yes. Yes, I've heard that story before, Morden. You may have forgotten, but you have told me about your friend. I assure you that the work that I do with a keen awareness of my own safety and well-being, and that I will return to the theatre anon. Unfortunately, Kubla is waiting for me, and I must bid you farewell.
Don't forget, every moment a lesson, every lesson applause.
Had this acting teacher.
We all have, I think.
I mean, haven't we all had this acting
I
teacher?
think so.
I think we all know exactly.
Thank you, Morden. You mean more to me than you'll ever know.
Oh, go wall.
Wait.
Oh, sorry. No.
Enjoy your time with the crook. I have an audience. Audience.
Oh.
I don't want to hold this pose forever. Pellio, get out.
I'll see you later, Morden. I'll be back tomorrow afternoon.
Goodbye. Bye. Well, from one mentor to another. Scott,
Yes?
who would you be?
Me?
Me?
Are you talking to me? I'm a young man. Did you need more? Or?
I mean, yeah.
God. I'm a young man. I am currently a monk in the Immaculate Order, training in the northern scavenger, actually slightly past the scavenger lands in the north. Yeah.
And what's your name? Because, of course, you decided to go, classic Exalted and pick a name that fits the setting but is way too long for us to put on an overlay.
That is very true. The name that I took on in the monastery, sort of after having meditated on it and studied and so on, is 5 Paths Ascending.
And who is the Immaculate Order?
Well, I mean, the Immaculate Order is the structure and the official state-sanctioned religion of, well, ostensibly all of creation, but more realistically, the Empire.
The realm.
The realm. They venerate the dragon-blooded. They venerate the 5 dragons, 5 elemental dragons, and training as a monk, I know that I am to be a terrestrial exalt.
A terrestrial exalt?
Yeah.
You mean a dragon-blooded?
That's right. One of them.
Why?
Well, because my understanding, although I left my family when I was very young to, train, is that my lineage is of air aspect dragon-blooded. And these things tend to run in families,
Right. Specifically only for the terrestrial exalted, the dragon-blooded. Exaltation tends to run in families. It's inherited for the most part. And your parents were both air aspects? Are perhaps still both air aspects?
I I actually don't know.
They gave you up from an early age.
And I haven't had contact with them.
Who have you had contact with instead?
Honestly, the majority of my life is spent with my mentor. An air aspect, terrestrial exalt, still light.
Still light. Today is a day that is unlike the others. Because as you wake up in your tiny cell, because honestly it's not much more than a cell, the library book that you borrowed is not there. And instead, a different one is in its place, along with a single orange. I mean, a delicacy around here.
Yeah.
That's a tropical fruit.
What is it? I mean, I'm going to go over and have a look. What is the book?
It's
Where
the
did that
next
come
book
from?
that you were planning on borrowing
Oh,
from
okay.
the library.
Oh.
Another one of the treaties on the 100 ways. And the orange
Wait,
looks
this is 80 to 99.
delicious. Wow! It's like an encyclopedia.
You go in like 20s? Yeah, no, I'm kidding. Okay, sorry.
Where's 100?
Then it gets a separate book.
Just one.
A very small tome,
gotcha.
yeah. Just like a little picture book.
The 100, you know, like it's a television show on Netflix. Anyway.
Thanks, Netflix.
Is there any indication of where these things came from?
No, not really. Other than anybody who was able to enter your room quietly without being notified by you is, it had to be somebody obviously very talented.
Well, as is my wont, because I have tasks and you know, things to do. But you know, I have some degree of freedom here. So I'm going to take the book and I'm going to take the orange, and I'm going to go out of my cell and up. There's I guess what you could describe as like a balcony overlooking the mountains. And I love going up there to sort of, you know, breathe the fresh air and feel the cold. Read. I'm going to eat this orange.
Dear God.
So the
It's
orange,
going to be a little weird because I'm going to be like,
so the orange is chilly, but it tastes amazing. I mean, it's all kinds of no scurvy.
I do love. No, okay.
And you hear footfalls behind you.
As I've been taught, I just kind of turn with my head already bowed in deference.
Up. You are enjoying your breakfast.
I am.
Still light casts a very unimposing figure to somebody who doesn't know him. Quite tall, but slender as a reed, like almost too slender. And the clothing that he wears is obviously about 2 sizes too large for him. But he claims that this is what he prefers, as he can't be constrained at all as he moves. He's also an air aspect, a dragon-blooded who has spent his entire life devoted to the Immaculate Order and to the study of a martial art known as Mantis Style, an art that he's tried to get you to master as well, in advance, of course, of your exaltation and joining the ranks of the dragon-blooded.
I owe you many thanks, Master. Still light, this is wonderful.
Do you come up here thinking that you can fly?
Not yet, but one day.
I thought so. And he delivers a kick to the small of your back
Wait.
to kick you off the wall.
I was right.
Well, I'm gonna
Roll a new character?
Yeah, I guess. Holy crap. No, I can kind of easily catch my balance.
Just at the very edge.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll stay there.
Why?
Because I like it up here.
Why do you catch yourself before you fall? It is in the fall that you learn the motion.
It is true. And I have faith that the dragons will catch me.
Does it scare you? And he looks down and like it's like a 15-meter drop.
Like a sheer cliff.
Like
yeah.
it's not you might survive. Probably not.
Okay. Can I roll it? Okay.
I mean, because directly below you it's cobblestone. You know, none of this nice yielding water people talk about.
I've always wondered what that would be like.
Someday.
Clearly, I have an answer. And it wasn't the one I wanted.
If you ask the question again, I may be able to give you a more educated answer. I have been studying.
Studying. Do you believe that the discipline of your mind is worth more than the discipline of your body?
They are one, as you have taught.
And yet you refuse to fly.
I would like to try to not jump off the cliff. I would like to try to turn around and take 2 steps up the wall behind me to get off the ground and see
Sort
if
of
I can
like
fly.
to like jump kick off the wall.
Yeah, like I'll do a backflip or whatever, I guess. Sorry. See if I can
For
fly.
a single shining moment, you can feel it. I mean, that drop that we have all felt at one time in our lives. You go over a bump too fast in a car, roller coasters, airplanes. The dip that feels like your intestines are rising up into your stomach. And then it's gone. And you come back to Earth, landing nimbly on your feet, but nothing more.
I don't understand.
I know you don't. You will never exalt. Your path is not to ascend, but to serve.
My destiny is to rise up into the clouds with you. It was foretold.
When I fell asleep last night, did I miss you becoming an elemental dragon?
No.
Then why do you dare speak of the destiny that they control?
I thought I was certain of the signs.
There is honor in serving. A small one, but an honor nonetheless.
Of course.
I've given you a gift to shield this blow from you. Perhaps it's because I have a soft heart for you. Because of all the hours, days, weeks, months, years that we spent training together. That I thought I had developed a form of fondness for you. That I thought that perhaps you would understand that this is beyond your control. You do not measure.
I'm gonna have to take a few very deep breaths. I have a way of centering myself physically as I have been taught to create for myself. So I'm gonna put my hands to my head, untie my hair. It's sort of tied up top here. So I'm gonna like let it
You've got
come
a
down.
wolf's tail?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Better than
Wolf's tail is shaved on the side and then long with a ponytail on the
Ooh,
back.
yeah. Yeah, it's like a little more up, but anyway, yeah. So I'm going to sort of remove it, redo it, remove it, redo it. It's like a meditative thing, and I'm going to try to center myself. It's difficult.
Is that disappointment you feel?
It is. It is disappointment. It is... It is shame as well. Do you... Master, do you believe that your time has been wasted with me?
I believe that I am an instrument who has encountered a block with faults, that the statue may never be truly great. But we can see what we can do with you. Your lessons begin again in 20 minutes. I suggest that you take this time to recenter yourself and rid yourself of the disappointment. It will be up to me whether your shame remains or not. You all right there, Jess?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Oh boy.
And he turns with one of his hands at the small of his back, just in that mantis claw.
Thank you for the gifts. I hope to one day be worthy of them.
Yesterday you were, but today you couldn't fly. And he jumps off the wall. But of course, he lands safely.
Man, that sounds so cool.
What about you, Jess?
Yeah. So I live with my family in just above a forge that we run. My name is River Jade.
River Jade, you live in. You also live in the scavenger hands, do you know that?
Tiara.
A sister, a mother, and a father. Your sister Bridget, who's younger than you,
Yeah, she is.
by how much?
A couple years.
Your mother Gedda and your father Floven. What are we laughing about the?
I love it. It's awesome.
Oh, I love it.
I wasn't laughing.
So it's like Charcuterie.
If there's one thing that your father has always trusted in, it's that one must use one's own tool in
Yeah.
order to create. If, after all, you can't create a hammer, what good are you at creating anything else? But he's forbidden you from creating your hammer right up until this point. Your mother has still been training you, making sure that you have the chance to work using old equipment. But it's never been really quite the same. But you are an excellent smith. I mean, that's kind of what we're down for. What is your rating in crafts anyway?
It's 5.
It's a lot of
I will say that this is the first time I have ever had a player with crafts 5.
You're welcome.
me.
Go on. The best time to actually do smithing is, in fact, at night or in the early dawn because it is hot as fuck in a smith. Smithy.
Yeah.
I mean, smiths can be hot too, but the smithy, man, that's real hot. But oftentimes you have to work during the day. I mean, you need the light to be able to see what you're doing, but dawn is the best. Being able to run your feet through dew-soaked grass just before you walk in, get the fire started, a small chill in the air, and you can even sometimes, when you're lucky, see your breath just a moment before entering the extremely dry, hot, smoky, loud.
It's very loud.
But today, your father isn't asking you to work the bellows. Today, he's not asking you to prepare the next bundle of ore for smelting. He's not even asking you to fill the bucket for quenching. Instead, I'll need you to go and find a good stout length of wood.
Okay. In the forest?
Where else would you find a good long?
I mean, maybe the fireplace, but we kind of need those. So yeah, the forest. Oh, yeah.
Make sure that it has good heft. Make sure that you can get your hand all the way around it.
Okay.
Run. Go.
Okay. Thanks, Father.
Don't thank me yet.
Okay, sorry. I take back my thanks.
Bridget's, he's going to beat you with it.
Bridget, he is not going to beat me with this.
He's never beaten you.
That's not what's going to happen. How dare you say that about Father?
My friend says that whenever she goes and gets wood, it's so that her mother can beat her with it.
Who's this friend?
She's imaginary.
Oh.
So you have an imaginary friend whose parents beat her?
Yes.
That's horrible.
I just hear it in the stories. It's the ones who get beaten that the ones who rise up. They're the ones who become the real heroes.
I think you might be reading too many books. I mean, to be honest, I have been too.
What do you think a hero is, then? If it's not somebody who's beaten?
I think it's someone who, I don't know, can like protect people and kind of just like take charge in the right moment, you know?
Do you think I could be a hero one day?
Of course.
I could take charge.
Yeah,
And I would protect you and mother and father. I could.
you could, but it's my job to protect you because I'm the older sister.
Why?
Sure. That's just how it works.
Wish I was the older sister. I'd protect you.
I don't really need protecting now. We have everything. What could happen?
Oh, Jess.
Oh, God damn it.
I mean, like, yeah, you... Son of a bitch. Okay. So, I mean, off in the forest, it's not hard to find. And, I mean, what do you suspect you're off looking for?
I mean, I have a pretty good idea that it could be for a handle, for a hammer, because it's been a while.
It's been a while since I held my hammer high. It's been a while since I first swung it. Anyway,
Yes, all of that.
I don't promise not to do that again.
Like once an episode.
Oh wow, the viewer count, it's falling.
Sir, it's plummeting. We need to take corrective action now.
Abort! When you get back, you see that your mother is standing at the entrance of the hearth, and she's got her arms folded across her. She's got, like, she is jacked,
Yeah.
right? Like, your entire family
Yeah, we're jacked.
has, like we're the jacked family. I mean, it's River Jade, and this is my jacked.
The cookie and the spooky, the really, really jacked.
Is Pellio jacked?
No, I wouldn't describe him as being jacked.
Like, what strength are you rocking there on Pellio?
Currently 2 dots.
So I should point out that on these sheets, everything is rated in terms of dots, typically from 0 to 5. 2 is human average. And when I say human average, I mean average. So you are...
It's a generous 2.
It's a generous 2?
It's a generous 2.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's compare that to River Jade. River Jade, what's your strength?
4.
4. So it's New Jacked City.
It's like a logarithmic scale, right, John? Like it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's ripped. Just her upper body, though. Her lower body, it's okay.
So, when you find that piece of wood and you bring it back, she is just watching with her like guns out, sun's out, guns out.
Wait.
And she's just nodding, and your father has already started working the bellows himself, and you can see that there's this chunk of metal waiting for you. And it seems very pure, doesn't have a lot of impurities running through it. Honestly, it's probably one of the nicer bits that you have in the entire smithy.
Father, are you sure that's the one?
You saying that I'm wrong?
No, but I mean, I don't really need the best. Yeah, any metal will do. Don't want to. Okay, yeah.
If your tool isn't perfect, how do you believe what you craft will be perfect? Now, what do you believe the tool is?
A hammer?
I'm not going to live forever. Which means that how am I to create after I'm too old to lift? I make the most perfect tool I can. Which means you have to be perfect for me.
Okay.
And so your hammer equally must be perfect. Do you understand?
Yes, Father.
I imagine I don't have to tell you a thing other than go, and you can build that hammer just as you would. But remember, it's yours.
Okay.
And because it's yours, make it for you.
Okay.
I'd like to say that this is where all of your stories basically continue. Sarcasm, an all too familiar life of actors struggling to make ends meet.
Don't know what you mean by that.
Never heard those words in my whole
Or even just a moment of passage into adulthood, maybe? A way of your parents to show that you're ready. Even though, of course, you have been ready, and you know you've been ready for a long time. I mean, yours isn't great, but I guess you could learn to live a life of, you know.
This is my life now, sure.
Except that, unfortunately, as with all stories that are any good, shit's got to go down. But we'll be doing that after the break. We're going to take 5?
Yeah.
We'll be back in 5 minutes.
Bye.
See you then. I mean, we're in a space, we're in a new space. It's
really
kind of
nice
interesting that I
space.
can get up and actually walk around the space, and it's not like bumping into
Bump into all
everything.
the stuff. We got one of those old parachutes from kindergarten, and like we played the game where you does everyone know what I'm talking about?
Like run
yeah.
underneath.
That's-
Yeah, you
that
run
was my
underneath,
favorite
yeah.
game.
That was mine too.
Make it
I realize in hindsight they probably weren't that big.
What?
It's just we were very small.
Right.
Yeah.
They were pretty
I only realized that the other day though. I was like, man, I was probably just like,
Yeah.
that's what we were.
That you
doing.
were once small?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird to think.
Yeah.
I just want a stream of Ben and Julian crawling around the room, pulling things out of frame. That is life
Slowly
to
emptying
me.
backgrounds.
The true heroes.
I thought a true hero was someone who can protect people and
Protect people
charge
from-
in the right moment.
Someone who's beaten right.
Wait.
We ready to go back to 6 months ago?
Yes. All right.
We ready to go back to the future. Anyway. The pier. In this hole of a town. Well, not really a hole of a town, but like the pier that your family always directs people to. In order to lull them into a sense of, trust, they always try to make sure that this pier is slightly better maintained than all the others. So it's waxed. This has the unfortunate side effect of making it somewhat slippery.
Yeah.
Which means that inevitably, any captain worth their salt doesn't want to land at Pier 7, but, well, sometimes the quartermaster, accepting the pathetically low bribes that she does, directs people to that pier. When the captain steps off the gangplank onto the dock itself, as she strides forward, you can see that she's doing that shuffle, which any Canadian is sort of familiar with, to make sure that you don't slip and fall on your ass.
It's doing that today.
And as she sort of casts her eyes around, maybe because there's a reputation for this pier, but not seeing anything, she beckons that it's all right, and this very young couple, arm in arm, step down, and hanging off his shoulder or his crooked arm is a bassinet, double wide, covered in silk, which is way too nice for babies, by the way. I mean, have you ever, babies are like filth factories.
Yeah.
And
It should be with Pellio.
yeah,
Not the babies, the
No,
and they can
silk,
compare
yeah, silk.
silks,
The silk covering, yeah.
but
not the babies.
it is a double wide. The two of them, when they're looking at each other, have absolutely nothing but love and promise in their eyes.
Sorry.
They can't be much older than 19. But their clothing is befitting of ones of higher station. Once they've managed to make it down onto the dock, that's when the captain lets out a shrill whistle and all the various, unsavory characters on the ship just start unloading the rest of the cargo. But these two, very carefully, either because of the dock or because of their bundle, very carefully make their way so that they reach the quartermaster's office so that they can then proceed further on into the city.
I nudge Minute.
How's that?
Oh yeah, I know. Keep a distance behind them. The usual.
Why don't we try something different this time?
Oh, you have an idea. What's your idea?
I was thinking that maybe I could just go up to them and I could start asking them for help, for information, and then while they're distracted, you could just walk up behind them and swap the baskets.
Oh yeah, swap the baskets with what?
Okay, so first we get a basket, and then I'll approach them, and I will start distracting them, and then you can walk up and you can swap the baskets.
Swap the baskets. What happens to the babies?
Oh boy.
Third idea. We buy a basket. I walk up, I distract them. You go, you swap the baskets, lift the two babies, and put them down into the baskets. You're really good with children.
I'm so flattered you think that, Minute. Follow behind. Don't say a word. I've put all your ideas in the vault. Maybe one day they'll see the light of day. Oh my God. Come on.
Dorcas. In the best part.
Jesus. Come on.
So he starts following along, making a very big show of the fact that he's now not allowed to talk. I guess this is a stealth mission now.
It's always a stealth mission, I don't know.
The couple find their way to the finest inn in Cullen. And when they get in, they are very careful about opening the door. She's very careful about opening the door so that he can walk in very carefully, holding the basket. And then you hear, even at the fair distance that you are, some cooing coming from inside the basket. So it's clear that there's at least something in there that's making noise. I mean, maybe it's an artifact that has a nice old like speaker toy in it, but I doubt it.
It's one of those baby monitors. Yeah.
What?
Okay, so they're inside. No.
Like what?
So they're inside the inn now?
They are inside, well, they're going in.
They're going in to the inn.
Now, the inn, you know, has two exits that are typically used, the front and then the back. Now, it does have a second and a third floor, and there are windows without any kind of panes in them. They're just curtains across those windows themselves. So, I mean, there's ways, if you can just climb up there, you can get in.
Okay.
Behind the inn, there's sort of a place, a stables sort of area, although they didn't come on a horse. And then there's, behind there, there's a trail that you know leads into the woods themselves. It's a popular destination for tourists because, at the very least, you can rent a horse and then go from wherever you need. The horses are well trained. They always return to the inn 50% of the time.
Nice. It's the best you can hope for here, really.
I mean, that sort of seems to be like the lot of Khaled, is the best you can hope for
Yep.
here.
Hey.
I would love to see one of those big signs on your
Yeah.
way into town, but like somebody's
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of swinging.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like it's one of those.
Like a bird's pooped on it.
The
Here,
paint's all chipped.
that's the dot of the
Yeah.
eye.
Every 2 weeks, someone comes up and tries to re-nail the sign back, but like they haven't walked 5 meters away, and it's just like.
This place is the worst. Okay, so just by watching the windows, can I tell which room they took? There aren't many rooms at the inn.
Yeah. After a little bit, it becomes clear that one of the curtains is rustling, and then it's pulled aside, and you see the young bride take a deep breath, which of course is not great, right?
It's not great.
But it's pretty clear that they're on the second floor.
Okay. All right, Minute, what do you say? The easy way to do this is to just wait till nightfall, sneak in, take the artifact. But I kind of told the boss I'd be back by sundown, and I do like a challenge. So we're gonna figure out how to swipe this thing in the middle of the afternoon with a bunch of witnesses. Yes, you may speak.
So we buy a basket. We go up. I'll cause a distraction in the lobby, and then you can just swap baskets.
Here's what I don't understand about this whole thing. Why do we need to swap the baskets?
Well, then not only do we get the artifact, but then we
in-
also get a sweet
We
basket.
bought a basket. We had a basket.
But the basket that we buy is a con basket, so it can't possibly be as good.
Everything we own is con something.
And we're proud of it.
Yeah. How about this? If we succeed, I'll take a small percentage of my pay and I will buy you a basket.
How much does it want?
Do you swear?
Now go inside and say that you're the new housekeeping staff and you're there to clean their room. Okay. And while he's doing that, which I fully expect him to fail at, I'm
Okay.
going
Okay.
I'm going to the window and just basically waiting for an opportunity to climb up to the window.
Okay.
Just checking for ledges and handholds and stuff.
So it's not a
protruding
difficult climb. Are you assuming you're not doing this on the street level? You're kind of going around,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
that you're not like, look at me, everybody.
I'm Spider-Man.
Mixed with Soyberg.
As you head up and you make it towards the window, you can hear from the ground, "Hi, I am here to keep house in your room, so you can enjoy a nice leisurely horse on the trail. You can horse the trail while I clean your room." Who are you? We haven't hired a housekeeper. I am. So at this point now, there's a small crowd gathering downstairs.
Perfect. So I want to kind of peek in their room.
Is the fifth
See if
member of
there's-
our party.
So when you peek into the room, you see that the groom is gone.
Okay.
The bride is there, and she is holding both babies in her arms. She's lying down on the bed, and her eyes are closed.
Okay, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see. The bassinet's just on the ground.
A bassinet is on the ground with a silk cover just right over top of it.
Okay. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see if I can do this.
What are you gonna do?
Very, very quietly. See if I can reach my hand across and lift the silk of the bassinet.
So as you lift the silk of the bassinet, you see that on the, there's sort of like a small pad, which is, I guess, where the babies were sleeping. That's all you see immediately. That and the rustle blanket.
How about under the pad?
So when you lift the pad and you look underneath, you see that there is the biggest hunk of jade that you've ever seen. This isn't an artifact. This is straight up currency that's sitting underneath this thing. Jade, despite the fact that it's one of the 5 magical materials, is also the currency of the realm. And
Hello. It's just my face.
Oh, God.
And if you managed to take this would be the biggest score that you can remember your family doing. Now, it's still not amazing. It's not like this is enough to feed you and your family for the rest of your lives, but it's definitely
But it would last me for quite some time.
yeah. Oh, depending on the lifestyle you choose.
Oh,
Interesting.
interesting.
So I'm watching the woman for any signs that she might be waking up. And I want to try to take that jade.
Well, as you lift it out of the bassinet, I appreciate you're not waking my children. Oh, it's all right. Take it out. And her eyes open up and she's speaking very softly. She's still just lying on the bed. She's got 2 infants in her arms. Take it out. See how heavy it is.
It's all right.
You didn't think we weren't anticipating this, do you? The information that we managed to deliver, intercepted. You have to bribe your informants better than this, or else we can just bribe them back.
I am not responsible for bribing the informants.
You're not responsible.
I had nothing to do with the orchestration of this. I am but a mere employee.
Of what?
Of the joke that calls itself the criminal underbelly of Port Collin. You must have heard of them. Or maybe not.
Of course. Now, please keep your voice down. We mustn't wake the children. And she very, very carefully just lies them down on the bed and then swings her legs over and stands up. As she stands up, you can see that before the rest of her dress falls to the ground, her calves look like they are wrought out of iron. And despite the fact that there's a very willowy sense about her, it's like tensile steel making up her entire frame.
Who are you?
I have to punish them. And that punishment is just going to have to come out of your skin.
I don't think so.
No?
No.
You'll have to at least make me one promise. If you scream too loudly, it's going to be so difficult to get the children back down again. And she...
I want to reach into my pocket and
Yeah.
pull out a match
Okay.
and a matchbook.
All right. So you are now holding one match and one matchbook. It disappears from your inventory.
Oh, good.
I'll do it.
You'll do what?
I'll burn this into the ground and be out the window like a shot.
And she smiles. And you see that her skin is coming slightly more red.
Oh.
Little balls.
And then she just flicks her 4 fingers up, and you see that there's a small wisp of flame dancing around her hand. I'll do it, because it's fun. But you promised not to scream. And she just drops that wisp. And just before it hits the ground, disappears. Now that we're done threatening each other, step over here and show the first amount of honor your entire family has shown. And accept this graciously.
You made 2 mistakes. Thinking I would show honor and associating me with my family.
Sorry.
And then I want to dive out the window.
It's like a Count Rugen, like. Oh, that shit.
If I can.
So as you start, are you still holding on to the?
Yeah.
So as you
I want it.
want it.
I
So
want
as
the shiny.
as you coil your legs down,
No.
she sighs, picks up one of the children, and tosses it out the window after you
What?
with great alacrity. So that you see, as you are jumping, this child who is still asleep sail past you, almost in slow motion. What do you do?
Stone cold.
Or no, like, this was after you start jumping. Are you saying stone cold? Or
Saying stone cold.
As you're like diving out the window.
fucking weak, boss!
I mean, I'm diving out the window, so unless I can change.
Are you making any attempt to catch the child?
No, I'm not. Or maybe I am. Actually, yeah, I'll do that. I'll try to catch the child.
All right.
Your
I'm going to ask you to roll.
My other thought was turn around and like grab the roof and run, like roof jumping
Oh, nice.
style.
I'm going to ask you to
Nothing
roll
to do with
your wits athletics, please. Now, we're not going to be doing a whole lot of rolling this first session, which is in fact not even our first session, our 0th session. Not a whole lot, but we're going to try. When we are rolling, we're looking for numbers 7 or higher on a 10-sided die. For every single one that she rolls, she's going to... So we're getting a message from the chat. You want to read that out loud there, Liz? Just
Says, heroes, folks.
Well, we can't all be heroes.
So we're looking for numbers 7 or higher. The number that they get is considered the number of successes they reach. They have to get a number of successes equal to the difficulty. Now, this baby is being tossed deliberately so that you can catch it. So the difficulty here is only going to be 1. How many successes did you get? 2. Good enough. You managed to, with the skill of a rugby player, curl 2 fingers. I'm not going for football.
No, that's good.
Curl 2 fingers underneath, and you manage to grab a hold of the child. And I assume pull the child towards you as you fall?
Yeah.
Or are you just like...
Hook it back.
It catches your fall. Oh.
That's not
No.
bueno.
So you successfully managed to catch the child, and then when you land, because of the reach that you had to do for the child, though, the landing is not as smooth as you would have liked. You can feel this burning in your shoulder, but then you hear, "Someone stole my baby!" coming from upstairs.
And I want to start screaming and crying and collapse to the ground with the child. And gesturing with my arms to the closest person to come over.
All right, that's going to be a manipulation and performance.
Nope, it's not. It's just manipulation.
That's a difficulty of 2.
That's 3 successes.
Wow.
So you've managed to draw a lot of attention to yourself, and people start pouring out of the inn. So the owner of the inn, the groom you saw earlier, the housekeeper.
The housekeeper or the housekeeper?
That is...
Yes.
It's coming from all around you.
Shake it off, shake it off.
And the groom looks at you as you are like, and then...
It just fell out of the window. I've never caught anything in my life. I can't even catch bread coming out of the oven, but I caught this baby.
She just became River Jade.
You can't even catch bread out of the
Is it
oven.
breathing? Please look at it. Please tell me it's okay.
And that's when you see up at the top a woman who is giving an equally good performance of pointing out there, and then you hear the innkeeper say, "Lady Rain, this is your child?"
Who is that? My lady, I'm so happy to be able to have saved your child. I couldn't even imagine being a mother and having to experience losing a child this beautiful, and I'm
Lady Rain, is this your child? And she lifts a very stiff lip. That is my Jade and my child. And she's just a common thief. And that's when things get different.
Oh.
We always like to think that when it starts like deep within our chest, like our heart, right? Or maybe it's our head. No. Nyx, for you, it starts in your feet.
Oh.
A feeling of awareness that your feet suddenly are in contact with more than just the ground or your sandals or whatever you're wearing. What are you wearing on your feet anyway?
I am wearing thin cloth shoes.
And now it feels like they're just aware of so much more. But that feeling is really only going to last for about half a second before it rushes through the rest of your body, filling you with light, power, and a little bit of a sting as a circle appears on your forehead. It flickers once, and then for 3 breaths, everyone just sees this shining circle on your forehead. Now, when they tell you about anathema, they tell you that they show these markings upon their foreheads. What they don't tell you is the massive eruption of light that comes from your whole body. Do you want to describe your anima?
Yeah, so it's really good. Do we go with the gross version or the not gross version?
Hey,
What are you feeling in this
what
moment?
are you feeling?
I'm feeling the gross version. Sorry, everyone in
Gross
advance.
version.
So it's an eyeball with spiders pouring out of it.
Oh my god.
Oh, I love it.
Eyeball
great.
with spiders. Okay.
Lady Rain
That'll be 27.
looks down and she just shakes her head once. And I thought today was going to be boring. And she jumps out the window, aiming to land about 5 meters away from where you were formerly wailing. She's not carrying any weapons, but when she lands, there's definitely the feel of a shockwave running along the ground, and the air around you grows about 5 degrees hotter.
No. No.
The Jade.
I'm gonna throw a baby at her.
We make do with what we got, right?
She
guys?
so as
We do what we must because we can.
as you toss the baby, she jumps and curls the baby once again, just as if she's a rugby player, tucking it towards her body.
poor baby.
But as she turns, her spinning back fist lands not 2 centimeters in front of your nose, and then it opens again, holding the baby. The Jade.
Take a second to evaluate my surroundings. Try to
Okay,
determine
so-
if there is a way for me to get away
So
with
out of the
jade.
corner of your eye,
I want it.
out of the corner of your eye, you realize that Minute is just
Over.
Oh, he's there too.
You also notice that the groom has started to pull 2 swords from his scabbard on his side. The innkeeper is just like, what the? And there's fire dancing behind Lady Rain's eyes.
What is she? If I give you this, you're not gonna let me go.
All I asked was that you didn't scream. Anathema.
I'm still trying to think of it.
Everybody is now peering out their windows out into the main street as they can see this spider with eye with spiders coming out of
Like one dude sipping an espresso. You know what I mean?
it. Just like halfway, like
Yeah.
I still want to. So, like looking away from the people, I'm casting my eyes at the surroundings. I've always been very good at evaluating situations and determining the best outcome for me, and only me. And
if you run,
being unseen.
if you run, there's a chance that you can get away with this with the Jade. But they're gonna tear this town apart looking for you.
An excuse to leave. This appeals to Nyx. I mean Pella, as it runs through her mind.
Who is Nyx?
No, who's this Nyx?
Mais c'est qui cette
Nyx. There's like a little voice in her head going, do it. Do it. She's like, oh, who is this? Nice to meet you. I want to grab the innkeeper who's next to me,
Yep.
throw him into her way, and run. Aiming to dive into an alley. I'm wearing dark clothing. Maybe I'll blend in with the shadows. Maybe they won't see me as easily. Plus, a huge group of people will have to funnel into the alley to catch me. I know these streets really well. They don't. Maybe, just maybe, I'll get away with the dollars.
Think of all the silk shirts I could buy.
Ooh,
You know,
in that case.
you don't often start a story of heroism with running away. But maybe you start with running away holding a pretty massive hunk of jade.
Yeah, if we need this, we're also poor.
Kubla. Kubla is waiting for you. Oh, in terms of a night cast, not during their first exaltation, not for me.
I didn't deserve subtlety anyway.
No. This is like.
But
far
like
from
also, they
subtle.
knew who you were. They saw you before you exalted.
They sure
So
did.
they knew your face. But Kubla. Kubla is the kind of guy who favors tea houses without chairs. He's really into the whole kneeling.
Oh, okay. You're standing? Or?
And it looks like he's probably been there for hours. You ever get that cramp, right? Like, have you ever just like kneeled straight up for a long period of time? And it takes a certain amount of skill to just be able to do that for an extended period of time. But for Kubla, it's nothing. Sometimes he gives off the impression that everything he does takes no effort at all. I would ask you to sit down, please.
Are there any chairs here?
No.
Very well. I sit down.
I have a question for you, Pellio. The question it isn't exactly a pleasant one. But
Is it
are
about
you?
the tea?
No, it's not about the tea.
All right.
Are you aware of the recent trading?
I got some news about it. I assume everything's under control.
We asked you to proceed with a reconnaissance mission to pull forth as to whether or not we would be able to corner a market, create a monopoly of our own to break that of another noble house. And so we did. Purchased the lot, everything we could find in Nexus. All of it on your word, Pellio.
Yes, and the information that I provided was accurate and actionable. I feel quite confident in my sources, Kubla. We've worked together for a while now. I don't understand why this should cause you any alarm. You seem quite upset.
Accurate, actionable. These are words of someone who's very practiced. I must ask you a question, Pellio. Have you been giving any information to other houses?
Come on. Kubla. I mean, how could you possibly suggest... Really? Honestly, Kubla, I mean, I'm offended. I'm really, really offended by that.
Obviously, I'm mistaken. Perhaps we'll get some tea then.
Thank you.
But
Goodness.
I feel that I've wronged you. Let us celebrate, perhaps, the greatest victory that we have achieved in the past 2 months. Come, we've arranged for the private room. And he stands up and he walks past the other very quiet tea drinkers to a VIP room. And you can see the shining sort of symbol of Cetus hanging there. And there's food spread out. All vegetables and fruits from the south, delicacies prepared beautifully. No meat, though. Come,
Kubla, what's the occasion?
we've cornered a market. Please, come. And he steps inside and he takes his position at the table, except seeing that it's too high and this one requires chairs, just shakes his head and then crouches, and with one very quick slash of his legs, knocks out the 4 posts keeping that table up, and it lands on the tatami mats underneath, sending up a cloud of smoke.
It's a baller move.
That is bold.
That's
And then
cool.
he very quietly pushes the chair slowly out of the way. But
3
it makes
points
that
up.
kind of like as it rattles across the mats and then kneels. After all, you must be rewarded.
Is there octopus pate?
There's no meat here.
What kind of a reward is that? And who else is coming? I mean, what kind of a party is this? We're alone.
Yes.
Kubla, you're so dull. I'm just so bored of it all.
Pellio,
Yes, what?
get in here. And he
All right.
picks up just this root vegetable and just cracks into it with his teeth. And then as you go in, he slides a paper door closed. Which of course like gives some element of privacy, but like let's be honest with ourselves here. Like it's paper. Your silhouettes are still there. You for a brief moment you look like the boss.
Whoa.
Don't ever look like the boss.
Pellio, do you understand the meaning of victory?
Is this a euphemism for something? Do I understand the meaning of victory? I mean, why are you speaking in such veiled terms, Kubla? Come out and say whatever you have to say.
We've paid an incredible price for wonderful information.
And I offered it, wonderfully.
It turns out that we didn't corner the market at all.
Sorry?
7 other shipments just arrived off port. We haven't got a thing. And now the price has plummeted because the supply is bountiful. Which means that we're holding on to day-old spice. And fresh spice is just coming. Do you know why I'm not upset? Do you know why I'm currently enjoying this bounty of vegetables with no octopus pate? It's because we've discovered that we have a double agent working in our midst.
Well, you must root the traitor out. And
Do you
I
know-
offer my service to House Sinus in this regard in any respect. I'm willing to help in any way I possibly can, of course.
You don't understand just how grateful I am. Are you aware of what a crucible is?
Theoretically, yes.
I'm no smith. But I do know that a crucible is used to burn away impurities so that only the pure can remain. And with that, someone on the outside lights the room on fire.
More flames. So much flames.
Kubla does not seem to react, despite the fact that now all 4 walls are lit. This room, Pellio, is a crucible. Let us see who remains when we're finished. And he picks up another one of those root vegetables and just calmly snaps into it. I know you've been dealing with Cessus. I know you've been dealing with Regara.
That's an absolutely preposterous suggestion. Kubla, come on. Be reasonable. We've known each other for years. And frankly, I mean, it's getting a bit warm in here. And I'd quite like to...
So true.
Look into my eyes, Pellio. See the flames reflected in them and know that here, only the truth will survive. It is a crucible. Now, should you wish to survive, you could choose to tell me the truth I already know, and I might show you mercy. We could both just stay here, reduced to cinders. You for being a traitor, and me for trusting you. The choice is yours. And as you say, it's getting a bit warm in here. I didn't order these vegetables barbecued.
Kubla, I give you my word. Upon my honor, and in the name of the undying light of the unconquered sun, I swear that I have been truthful.
Don't swear by the unconquered sun.
Do you want to take that bag? If you swear to the unconquered sun, that kind of outs you as somebody who may be involved with the Solar Exalted, which at the moment you aren't. You haven't exalted yet.
Yes, no, I will take that back.
So what would you care to swear on?
Is,
So good.
We all won.
no, sorry, I misspoke. That was a roll.
I mean, if we had a record scratch, like right there, like, yeah,
Sorry,
that's me.
Kubla,
I just swore to the unconquered sun.
I'm wondering how I got it.
I naturally slipped into the lines of dialogue in a play that I'm rehearsing currently, and it sort of escaped me quite unexpectedly. Quite embarrassing. I do apologise. Listen, I'm feeling a bit warm at the moment, so I'm just going to pop out for a bit of air, if that's okay.
I want you to swear to me. I want you to give me your unbroken word.
Kubla.
So at this point now, the tatami mats have started to catch flame, and they're starting to smolder, creating a circle that is slowly moving into the two of you on the table.
Kubla, I give you my word. I swear. I swear that I've been faithful to House Sinus and will remain so, and will root out this menace that has befallen your noble house. I stand at the ready to assist you in any way I can.
I was afraid that your word wouldn't be good enough. And he wipes his brow. It's a real shame that we both have to die in here. We could at least do so enjoying our last meal.
I don't like vegetables very much. But thank you, Kubla. Can we please leave? You don't have to do this. This charade is completely useless. I can provide you with information and root out the true traitor.
I have no doubt that you can provide information. I have every doubt that you wouldn't keep it to just us. You have too many friends, Pellio, and a man with too many friends can't be trusted. And the oxygen in the room starts running thin. It's all right. In the end, it's just one dead actor and one dead spy master.
This is useless. Kubla, we...
And then you hear just this small bell, as if from a very great distance. And the feeling that your word all of a sudden just might be more valuable than anything you've ever possessed. For Pellio, it doesn't come from his toes. It comes from his tongue. That same awareness that every syllable that you shape with your lips could potentially alter the course of the entire city of Nexus. No, creation itself. And that's when you feel, again with a small burn, a circle with a small disc inside. And Kubla's eyes just go.
Kubla, you look unwell.
And then what's your anima?
My anima is tongues rippling through the air.
Oh, yeah.
In a kind of circular motion.
So, at least it makes the smoke go away, but the sheer force of your anima flaring tears the roof off this flimsy tea house.
Damn.
And Nexus finds itself showered with light all over it. For even though the sun might have been setting, now there's the birth of a new Solar Exalted here, taking his second breath. Who are you? And he passes out. There isn't nearly enough oxygen here to sustain life. The room, the entire building is burning around you. You're relatively sure that there's still soldiers of Sinus standing outside the tea room, waiting to just collect your ashes. Only now there's just you, with newfound strength, will. What do you do?
I run to the nearby window. I open it. I gaze out of it. And I just take a leap.
Do you leave Kubla inside?
Yes.
Not a second's hesitation.
Heroes.
So heroes, folks.
Was it
Heroes.
So heroes or like
Heroes, folks.
Heroes, folks.
Heroes.
Actually, I'm gonna write
That's
that
how
down.
it's done.
Hey man, gotta save yourself to be a hero later, right?
I was
There you
thinking
go.
you were gonna start like doing a soliloquy or something.
Now
Real
is the
not
winter of our discontent.
The whole thing. He doesn't stop.
For the first time, when you bring it crashing down onto the anvil, it's perfect. You don't get that same jar through your arm that you would get from a hammer that was too heavy for you. You don't get that lack of control, that one that's too light for you. The grip's perfectly molded to your fingertips. It really is yours. And as you pull it from the quench, so does it have a name? I should tell you, River Jade, we didn't name you for 3 days after you were born. We needed to wait. So I wouldn't be insulted if you didn't have a name picked out already. Do you?
Yeah.
What's its name?
It's hammer time.
What?
Hammer time. One word.
You named your hammer your first tool that you created in my smithy. The one that had metal your mother picked out for you. The leather cured by your own sister. And I worked the bellows for hammer time.
I just think it gets right to the point.
No, that's it.
Stop. Hammer time?
Yes. Hammer time.
All right. Fine. It's your hammer.
Yes, it is.
You can call it whatever you want.
Thanks, Father. It's hammer
Sure
time.
that you know that it's yours, which means that without your permission, no one else is to touch it. You can't touch it.
Okay. I'll tell them stop.
I don't know whether I'm supposed to be disappointed.
I'm sorry. I didn't want to disappoint you.
It's not that. It's... You know, it's a good nickname. We'll think of... Oh. Four horses. Just like rush past without any riders. And then a lone horse, this one being ridden by someone, approaches the smithy. I'll remind people that this is 6 months after Nyx Exalted. But this horse is a little more lame.
Yeah, I'm looking at it and can see it's not quite all there.
My horse threw a shoe.
Well, you've come to the right place. Why don't you tie up your horse? What's his name?
Morga. How long will it take?
Shouldn't take very long. I would say about an hour.
Okay. Wait over here.
Okay. If you like, you can sit down.
No, I'm good. I'm good, thanks.
I'm River Jade, by the way. I just made my own hammer. It's like a big deal. It's called Hammer Time.
It's a nice name.
Thank you. I go over.
Bridget, by the way. Do you want to engrave it
Yes.
with its name?
Yes.
And then she, like, excitedly reaches out, but then she remembers that she's not supposed to touch it. So she just grabs your elbow instead. And your father shakes his head, and he heads towards the house. And your mother just looks and just, and she heads back to the house as well.
I go over to the forge to start finding metals. Have you come far?
Yep.
Where from?
Far.
Is that a place? I know there's the Far East. Is it there?
Sure.
It's kind of close to here. I think we're in it, right? I go back to awkwardly fumbling for tools.
So, River Jade?
Yeah.
Yeah. You lived here your whole life?
Yeah. Yeah, my whole life with my family. They're great.
Is that your dad and your sister?
Yeah. My mom just went up to go speak to my dad.
Oh.
Do you have a family?
Yeah.
And?
That's it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry, I don't think did I catch your name?
No, you didn't.
What is it?
It's not important.
Well, of course it's important. It's a name. It's your name.
I'm going to be gone in an hour.
I'm Bridget.
Yeah, this is my sister, Bridget. Sorry.
Hi.
And she reaches down and she picks up a small shard of metal that's just like flown off something else, but it's vaguely shaped like a rose petal, and she walks over and she hands it.
Oh.
Thanks.
I'm Bridget.
Hi.
Bridget, why don't you start the engraving for my hammer? I'm allowed to give it to someone that I trust, right?
Okay.
All right, you think of something to put on it.
Its name.
Besides that, what other embellishments do you want to put on it?
Okay.
All right.
And she
Give
takes
her
it and then like,
arms.
not quite like strong enough to wield it properly, but she can lift it. And she heads over and she pulls out a very small kind of like awl and starts tapping away at it. You can hear the pinging of the engraving starting.
I go over to like measure the horse's hoof.
Is that Danish?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's strange, but then you're starting to hear another set of horses arrive. This is 4. Another 4 horses. Not the same ones that came by before, but these ones are being ridden by a certain quality of humanity that might not be so savory. Flea-bitten and desperate looking in their eyes. 2 men, 2 women, and they're wearing just this reinforced kind of strips of leather down their fronts. And they swing off their horses and they start walking into the smithy without tethering them or even, keeping any kind of respectful distance.
Can I hide?
I mean, yes.
Cool.
It's not hard for you. You're
That's what I
very
would like to
good
do.
at it. Right.
Hi. I don't know
Where'd she go? Yes.
I'm the worst.
What are you up to?
Well, I work in a forge, so I'm forging things. Clearly.
Yeah. Do you have any weapons?
We have a few that are for customers.
Where are they?
Are you looking to purchase?
I'm looking for weapons, yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe I should find my mom, my father.
Yes. You're gonna run along to your daddy now. I understand. Where are the weapons?
Well, they're not for you. So,
Well, let me put it another way. If they're not for me, they're gonna be inside you. And then once you've died, I just can claim them myself. Where are the weapons?
let me just fetch a sword.
Don't scream.
Okay.
Just find the weapons.
Okay.
And you see that one of the men and one of the women have walked over, and Bridget is still just like very patiently like tapping things out.
Bless her heart.
She's can't hear because it's a loud work, but they're standing right next to her and they're making a very deliberate kind of like, we're standing right next to your sister.
Okay. I clearly look frightened and nervous, especially for my sister. I go to the back where I know the weapons are stored.
They're in the back. Excellent. You stand next to the little girl there, yeah?
Well, why don't I fetch them for you?
Because it's not rules. You see, from now on, as long as I'm here, I'll make the rules, yeah?
Let's.
And the rules are, you don't scream, and you don't go into the back. Now,
They're locked.
where's the jade? And he walks, and he just, with one fist, just smashes against the thing, which is not enough to break the door open. But he just does it 2 more times, and the door breaks off its hinges. Where's the jade? And he steps through. And he just starts rattling around in the back, pulling weapons wherever he can.
Would it be reasonable to say that there's like one sword not far from here?
I mean, reasonable, yeah.
Okay. And how far is my sister with that hammer?
She's right. I mean, like, he put you right next to her.
Okay.
So,
I'm going to go to her.
Look, I got hammer.
I think let me just take a quick look.
Okay. And she notices the fear and just lets go. And now you have your hammer in your hand. And the guy comes out, and he's carrying like a couple of plowshares and an axe, but there isn't really much in the way of weaponry. Quite disappointed in you. You didn't follow the rules.
I went where you told me to go.
Drop the hammer.
I want to swing my hammer at him.
Oh, God.
Okay.
In the gut.
So you pick up the hammer.
Yeah. How
And-
far away is he from me?
Oh, like not far.
Okay.
You pick up the hammer and you pull it back. And then as you start to swing it forward, you feel a hand just catch it just at the apex of your backswing.
Okay.
And one of the women close to Bridget is just holding on to it, and she just goes, naughty.
Yeah, great.
But for River Jade, it doesn't start on her feet. It doesn't start on her tongue. For River Jade, it starts in her hands. The feeling of the leather that's got the haft of the hammer. feels alive again. The wood, equally alive, but now also the stone. And you realize that as much as you've crafted this, your first tool, it won't be your last. It will be yours. And as it pulls free from her grasp, as you manage to finish the swing, a circle with lines burning onto your forehead. And as the hammer makes contact, what is your end?
Yeah, so it's violet sparks, as if something's like striking it.
Striking an anvil.
Yeah.
Okay. You catch him full in the stomach, and normally you would expect this to put him down. Well, it doesn't put him down, it puts him up.
Whoa.
For some strange reason, the force of your blow is such that it sends him flying across the stable, and he smashes into the opposing wall, and as he falls, spikes and ties designed for fences just fall, and while they don't spike through him, they clatter all over his legs, and he howls as if something's been broken.
I'm shocked. I'm very shocked right now.
And your parents, hearing the commotion, open the door, and their eyes, much like Kubla's, much like Minutes, grow wide.
Hi, Mom. They were trying to, steal.
It looks like the three other bandits start moving towards Bridget.
So I raise my hammer again, and I swing it at the woman who's trying to grab it before.
While the parents are distracted, while everyone's looking away, I want to dispatch the other bandits from my stealth position.
So while
As
you
many
do
of them as
manage,
I can.
while you do manage to make contact with this second bandit, the other two, their eyes roll up and they fall forward, seemingly out of thin air.
I'm looking around, like trying to figure out what just happened.
They groggily sort of stand back up, and the two bandits, the one that you first hit, manages to pull himself barely up, and he stumbles away from the smithy. Each one, the woman and the man, grabs their counterpart, and they start dragging them back to the horses.
Yeah,
Tried to kill them.
get out. Leave. Now.
They gallop away.
I slowly put the hammer down.
You're still an incandescent beacon of light, I should point out.
Yeah.
FYI, guys.
This condition will last for some time.
Yeah.
Bridget is just... It's the prettiest thing I ever saw.
Thanks, Bridget.
And your parents... Turn it off.
I don't know how.
Silly girl, turn it off.
I don't know. I can't.
For the first time, you see fear in their eyes. And it's directed at you.
I'm sure it'll stop or something, maybe on its own.
Nix, you staying in hiding?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Cold.
Stone cold.
It takes hours before the incandescent light dims to a mere roaring fire, and then just the marking on your forehead. And that's when your father and mother elect it safe enough for you to enter the house, for them to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, where have I been this time? Have I been in the forest?
I'm not sure. Where would you have gone?
I would have gone to the forest. The one that's right next to the
If you go to the forest, I would follow you to the forest.
Okay.
Just watching though.
Yeah.
Not doing anything.
It's going like this.
Stone cold.
Popcorn.
I'm just here for the show.
So the two of you are in the forest.
I'm just sort of sitting on a log, kind of trying to do something to make it stop.
There's nothing you can do.
What? Oh, it's you.
Jesus, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, there's nothing you can do.
What do you mean?
You just have to wait it out.
How long?
Hours.
Hours? Mm-hmm. But I have to shod your horse.
That's okay. I'll wait. I got nothing else to do.
Where did you go? One second you were there, and then the next second you were just gone.
I fight best when people can't see me.
Huh?
Don't worry about it.
How do you know about this madness?
Oh, no, it's just something that I heard.
Something that you heard?
Yeah, the place I was from, I saw the same thing happen.
Right, the place that's far.
Yeah, yeah. They exalted right in the middle of the street. And for hours, the light kept going.
Who exalted?
Just someone.
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah. You'll be okay, though. I mean, your parents love you. Your sister loves you. They all seem really worried about you. You'll be fine. You could probably stay here, lay low. No one will ever know.
Right. Do you know anything else?
You should be careful because those bandits will come back. I shouldn't have let them get away. I'm sorry.
It's not your cross to bear.
They've seen things. You'll be okay.
Right.
It won't take long to shod the horse now. After all, your hammer is great.
Hammer time.
I think it just says hammer.
At the moment, it's just hammer.
It's just what it is on the side.
But she manages to shoe your horse without much difficulty, even though there's still that remnant bits of glow.
Do you want supper or something? Can we feed you?
No, I am. I'm gonna get going.
Wait, hold on. Here, take this. It's just a dagger that I made. You can just have it.
Let me pay you for it.
No, it's fine.
Thanks, River Jade.
Thanks, Nameless.
Nix.
Nix. That's a cool name.
Thanks.
Well, I won't keep you any longer. I'm sure you've got places to go.
Get back to your family.
Yeah. Oh,
I'll see you around.
I hope so.
You're out?
I'm out.
When your parents finally encounter you in the house, you didn't tell us you were one of them.
I didn't know.
You didn't know.
No.
Do you understand? If anyone finds out who you are, they'll kill you. They'll kill us. You must never ever use that again.
Okay.
I want to hear you say it. And your mother has never been so sharp.
I will never use it again, Mother. I'm sorry.
Take Bridget out to the smith.
Okay.
Speak no more of this. Ever.
Yeah. I got it.
But when you open the doors, the bandits are back.
Already?
Already. The two that were uninjured stand at the door. The two that are injured, backed by the horses.
Yep.
Now, they can fly away as quickly as they can, yeah? So, it means that you do anything to us, they get out of here. They bring back the cavalry, yeah? Everything you own belongs to us now.
That's
Smithy, the house, everything.
my family's livelihood.
Or else we sing a song. I'm sure there are plenty of dragon-blooded who would love to make their names on you.
You can't take everything from my family. It's just, no.
Right. And he steps forward and just smashes your father in his face with his fist and just sends him reeling back.
I scream.
Noise isn't the same as gold or jade or anything else. Say it. Freak. And this time the other one moves forward and steps very close to your mother and grabs her by the hair.
Where is my hammer?
Oh, it's in your hand.
Oh, awesome.
Oh.
Well,
Oh, excellent.
He thinks it's.
now the people who are on the horses are about 20 meters away.
It is.
You could charge them. You could potentially also throw your hammer. Or there's another way. Perhaps a way that you've developed, just seeing and knowing how you can manipulate the essence of this hammer. The choice is yours, because I'm about to kill your family if you don't do something.
Okay. I'm just gonna throw my hammer at his fucking face.
I wish I could tell you that the battle was won and there was glory for all. I wish. But the reality of it is that beating 4 bandits who have already seen the wrong end of a poisoned dart and a hammer named Hammer Time
Fuck yeah.
don't make for very compelling opponents. By the time you turn around, the discs have re-emerged onto your forehead with the lines. And your father points away from the house, even though there are tears in his eyes. Go.
Father, they were gonna take everything. They were gonna hurt you. They were gonna kill you.
We won't turn you in, but we cannot have you here and risk Bridget's life. I've lost one daughter today. Don't make me lose the other one.
I move forward to hug my sister.
So Bridget just runs at you and just smashes her arms directly around you, and holds you, and she does this thing where she tries to lift you, except she can't.
Yeah.
It's all downhill from here.
Wait.
I'm gonna miss you, Bridge.
I'll find you.
No, he can't.
Go.
Love you. And I leave.
You know, stories like this, they're always hard. They're always hard because the life of an exalted, specifically a solar exalted, isn't supposed to be easy to start with. They grow in power. They get to move as hard and as fast as they wish, but only after suffering. But there's still greatness there. I can give you a few guarantees. One is that River Jade will see Bridget again.
Yay.
Second is that Nyx may hear her real name at least once more. And Pellio, Mir, I can promise you, here and now, in the sight of an eclipse, no less. So this promise must mean something.
Indeed.
You will be offered octopus pate. Scott,
Yes?
I know that we said that we were running the exaltations today. However, the moment that you exalt is also the moment where these three converge in the same place. Numa, your city. And we'll be doing that session 1. You see, you know you have good players when you can basically ignore one for like the second half of his exaltation, and he's still pumping his fist. Like, I have to appreciate that.
I'm a player?
Oh, fuck.
Just kidding.
He wasn't.
He's still here.
Guys,
He hasn't left yet.
this is getting really awkward.
I'm starting to feel like the mentor and John might have bit in common.
Oh.
Shut your mouth. Oh my gosh. Now, normally, if this was a real session, this would be the moment where I would be asking you all sorts of questions. We would be figuring out what the play of the game was. We'd be doing all of those things, but this wasn't really a session. But I can at least ask all of you what you did learn about your characters today. We'll start with Scott.
Yeah, I learned that 5 paths ascending is really. I mean, I think he's very practiced at like keeping his cool, but I think he has built his life around the knowledge that he is an air aspect, dragon-blooded.
Oops.
Exalt, like 100%.
I mean,
that's
maybe you
his
still
life.
will be.
Sure, it hasn't happened yet. Kind of sad, eh?
Jess?
But like, yeah, that's what I learned.
Yeah. Oof. God. Learn how kind of naive she is. I mean, I kind of already knew that a little bit,
That's okay,
but
having it confirmed.
it was really confirmed today.
May I ask,
Yeah.
what is your supernal ability?
Yeah, it's melee.
So you're a Doncast who knows how to swing a hammer,
Yeah.
named,
Hammer time.
yeah. So
great.
great.
I'm into it. I'm here for it.
Elizabeth?
I learned that
It's a good name.
Nyx exalting in a street surrounded by people is what made her into, like, in the 6 months until she met another Solar, that's what made her into a loner who, like, doesn't, like, with serious trust issues because she feels like everybody's out to get her. So it's like, don't stay in one place for too long, keep moving, because that's the only way you can survive as a solar.
Amir?
I learned about Pellio's relationship to Morden, clarified that. He's an annoying man. No.
Morden or Pellio?
I'll leave it to you to decide if Pellio is annoying. And if he is, please, by all means, tell me. No,
he's
Morden.
amazing.
Morden is an annoying guy, but Pellio can't help himself. He just adores him with all his heart, you know. And he's a true father figure to him, and that clarified and deepened, I think, for Pellio, but also just his survival instinct and how keen and sharp his survival instinct is, and how he will stop at nothing to survive.
We're gonna get along famously.
I mean, Rip Kubla.
Rip Kubla.
That motherfucker's gone.
My supernal is socialize, for those of you on the chat who are wondering. Yeah. So.
I haven't exalted yet.
No, I know.
What's
We were
yours?
debating what his supernal was.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
right,
No.
sorry.
Mine is investigation.
Investigation.
So you are the detective.
Detective Nix.
That spider crawling has been happening for months now.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to get used to it.
Yeah. She scuttles.
Spider with Liz's face on it.
Oh God.
If the room had been empty, she would have like scuttled into the room.
Wait, so does that mean that she has like the spider would have like 4 faces on it because it has like 8 eyes?
What?
Because if a spider has like tons of, or it has like tons
Oh,
of.
like because
Sorry,
it has your
legs,
it has
legs
your
are 8,
face.
but it has your face. Would it have a multiple?
Why does it
multiple
have my
times?
face?
Because that's the T-shirt.
That's the T-shirt.
Oh,
so it would have
oh.
your face multiple times.
Yeah, sure.
the
But is it
various-
have like me,
multiple
Liz's
eyes.
face, and I'm just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That, exactly.
Well, next week we're actually going to get to know the players a bit better. We're going to know their characters a bit better. We're actually going to get all of you together in 2 weeks.
And we'll give a description of our character's appearance at that time, or should we do it now?
I think at that time,
Yeah.
you can do it now or tweet it out. But like, do you have a solid idea of what your appearance would be?
I have a pretty solid idea.
I think so.
Go nuts! Throw it out there. Throw it out there for the people.
Scott, do
I
you
wrote
want to
some
go
stuff
first?
down.
You're picking up your notes.
No, I did want to go first just because I think I did a decent job already. But Five Pats is a relatively small young man. He's very lithe from his like monastic living and martial arts training. Dark skin, sort of head shaved on the sides with the rest of his hair pulled back into a ponytail.
What color hair?
He wears.
What color hair?
If this isn't weird and inappropriate, it's blue and purple.
No, that's not.
Like it's sort
in
of
Exalted.
streaked
That's not
So
inappropriate
cool.
at all.
Yeah. That's
What about his eyes?
They're green just
I
because it
remember
clashes.
those eyes.
Stop. No, they are ice.
Oh, they're ice.
They're ice blue. They're like
blue.
that almost kind of creepy light blue, you know?
Yeah. It's seen people.
He wears
with
those. He wears those same flowing robes that are a little too big, because that's what his master wears. Okay, I'm good. That's it.
It's fair. Jess?
That's me.
that. Come back to me.
Wanna go first?
You lied.
You drew one, so I don't know.
Here.
A very strong features. A very prominent nose. The nose is a central part of but it's a face which is, it's not handsome, but it's striking. It's a striking face. Bit of an underbite, like a wide base to the jaw. A mustache and a soul patch that is a little bit kind of like elongated.
Amazing.
Dark hair, dark features, tall, like 6'1", but thin. And that's about as far as I've gotten. So any like concept artists or fan artists out there, go nuts, enjoy.
He wears a scarf. Did you say
He wears a scarf. He has a thing for silk scarves, which he wears kind of jauntily, slung over his. He's a man of delicate, taste and very refined aesthetic. Yeah.
Liz?
So Nyx, my inspiration for what she looks like is Furiosa from Mad Max. So she has very, very, very short, practically shaved head, and she's pale, wears pants and a dark shirt. She has like a lot of like belts and things over her shirt, and then she wears like a long vest, and inside the vest is where she like stores shit. And she upgraded to boots after she left.
Boots.
Now she wears boots.
We have a question from the chat.
Indeed, hair length on Pellio depends which side of the head we're talking about. Asymmetrical, so short on one side, actually quite long on the other, but it hangs down over one side. Doesn't cover the face though. So
My Chemical Pellio.
if you will, yeah. If we all will, and I think we will.
We will. Jess?
We will. Yeah. So we've already kind of mentioned it, but she's buff from working in a forge and working with metals. She's also like kind of dirty, not in a sexual way.
No,
you guys didn't take
Not
it.
a dirty girl.
No. Oh,
A
God.
dirty girl.
Nobody went there. Okay, cool. That's just Jess's brain. She's also got like calluses on her hands from like using them all the time. And I'm thinking she always has like something holding back her hair so she can work.
What color is her hair?
I want to say orange.
Which is good. What color are her eyes?
I don't know. That I don't know.
Erica
can be
needs to
any
know
color
eye
you
color.
want.
Any color, eh? Maybe like dark.
Dark eyes.
Yeah, dark eyes.
Pellio, what color is yours? Pellio's
Purple.
eyes.
A deep, rich purple.
Purple. Nyx?
Brown.
Brown. I mean, as I look at all these people in front of me with shining eyes, it's cool to think about this. I'm just disappointed that we don't actually get to have all of you meet until we do. And I once again have to apologize to Scott. But
I'm jazzed.
that doesn't mean that we don't have exciting things coming up. Tomorrow here, twitch.tv/Beanduck at 6:30 p.m. We have Cosplay Cave, Rosie Stormborn. Do we know her guest?
Yeah. So it's Bandit Spurs and Émilie Gauvin.
I actually know these names, so like
Ooh.
I'm impressed with myself. No.
Yes.
So you get to see cosplayers actually ply their craft making the costumes while, just also all kinds of just discussion and coolness.
Yeah, well,
right?
they're going to be able to, the format that they're aiming for is that they can take questions from the chat and from Twitter using #CosplayCave while the show is going on, so people can share the projects they're working on and ask for advice from the cosplayers in the show. So it's going to be a very interactive show.
Following that show,
At 9 p.m., we're going to be another one of Beanduck's new launches, new ventures, is Depth of Field with host Eric Cohen, happening right here in the Beanduck studios. Depth of Field is an interview show about the making of films and television and all things cinematic. So Eric is going to be having different guests on to discuss, history, like that person's sort of relationship with movies and what they love and movie doppelgangers and trivia and that sort of thing. He's a really chatty dude. It's gonna be fun. First guest tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern is
Actor and fight choreographer Sean Baichu.
actor, video game, voice artist.
I think that a whole bunch of us have worked with Sean Baichu.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he's a cool dude.
I think a whole bunch of us are jealous of Sean Baichu. Sure, I think a whole bunch of us wishes that he would just let us all into the mocap game. But
think we
he's
just wanna
too
be
good.
Sean Baichu.
Yeah, we just all want to be Sean Baichu. But that's fair. I think it's good enough that we are us now.
Oh, wow.
Already some images coming forward.
Someone's
That's cool to see. It's all wireframes. Which means that
still
whoever's doing it actually knows what they're doing.
That's a nice Wacom tablet, my God.
Yeah,
damn.
that helps. Thanks for joining me. I'm looking forward to this. I'm sorry that I'm not going to be here next week.
We did mention that officially, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be here
remember.
next week because we, just as in the irregularities of our scheduling, but that's okay because we are actually going to get to know the characters a bit better, know the players a bit better, and then we get to have our first session the following week. But until then, thank you so much for playing.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining
So much
us.
fun.
I'll see you next time.
Yeah. Bye. Bye. I can't stop.
They do the
Bye.
buys. That's what she does. I mean, like, they'll have their own sign-offs. I just